So here we have difference quotient. So the difference quotient, f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. So the difference quotient is really going to be used more in a calculus class, but here you have to be able to learn how to just simplify it and work with it, essentially. So given a function, f of x is equal to 9x squared, we are told to find the difference quotient. So what we want to do is we want to understand that the difference quotient here we see is almost like a form. So f of x is what is going to be given to you. That is the given function. F of x is the given function. H, well, h is a constant. H is just a constant, so it's just going to stay h. And then f of x plus h. Well, f of x plus h is really the only thing you need to be able to identify, because the f of x is what is given, the h is a constant. So you already have the other components of the form, you just need to figure out what is the f of x plus h. So the f of x plus h is something you have to find. It is simply function notation. All you are going to do is identify what f of x plus h would be. So given the function, you are going to find f of x plus h, which is simply function notation. Function notation means you take whatever is in the parentheses here, and it is going to now take the place of every x in the given function. So since I am looking for f of x plus h, I'm going to have 9 times x plus h squared. That is f of x plus h. It is just not simplified. So once you have substituted in the x plus h into the given function where it needs to go, into every x component, then you are going to simplify. So we want to simplify. So x plus h times x plus h means you're going to have to distribute. Okay. So now this 9 is going to go ahead and distribute through. So this is my f of x plus h here. So this f of x plus h is now going to go and substitute into the form. So what we're going to have is 9x squared plus 18xh plus 9h squared minus f of x, which is the given function, 9x squared, all over the constant h. You want to make sure that when you substitute in your f of x here that you put it in parentheses and then distribute that negative through. Now when you're doing the difference quotient, there is something that's very specific should happen. Any term that does not contain an h should cancel out. Any term that does not contain an h should cancel out. So when you're simplifying, any term that does not have an h on it should be able to cancel out. 9x squared minus 9x squared, they cancel each other out. We're left with 18xh plus 9h squared over h. So when you're simplifying, you're going to have a line where the only thing in the numerator are going to be terms that have h's on them. From there, your goal is to divide out that denominator h with whoever is in the numerator. So there's two ways you can do this. You can divide each term separately by h, which would leave 18x plus 9h. Or you can factor out the h factor and then top. So factor out the greatest common factor of h, and then you'll see h and h would cancel out, which will leave 18x plus 9h. Either way, you get the same answer. Okay? But you have to know how to simplify. That's a basic algebra concept, right? So all of your work is going to be simplifying work. Things that you know how to do already. You just have to refresh your memory about it. But I'm telling you what should happen. Anybody without an h should cancel out. then you should be able to factor and divide h into each term. And that's the difference quotient.